So you just make sure that you install. There's a noise coming in from somebody. Maybe we can mute our mic until we have something to say. Except if we have to talk, yes, we can unmute them. So I said we should try to install the Microsoft Sign-in Assistant first. That's if you still have not been able to get PowerShell Azure module to work. So what you should do first is download Microsoft Sign-in Assistant. Let me put that in the chat for everyone to for everyone to see. Chats. Yes. So that's Microsoft online sign-in assistant. Okay, so try to download this. And once you've downloaded it, you can launch PowerShell itself. And from within PowerShell, you can type this commandlet. You can type install -module. There are different ways to get it installed, but this is the easiest way out, right? So you download the online sign-in assistant first, launch PowerShell and type install module, and the name of the module will be MS Online, right? MS Online. So you can check your chat box, for this thing that I've just said now. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at administering Office 365.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
Now, what if you use the normal desktop installation?
Well, if you're using normal desktop installation, one thing you can do is to download Web Platform Installer. So with Web Platform Installer, you can put in whatever is it you want to install. Let me check if I have Web Platform Installer on my box. I'll just show you how to use that real quick. Web Platform Installer. Okay, I do. So I'm going to launch it and then share that screen now. So I'm sharing the Web Platform Installer screen right now. So what you can do if you don't want to install via PowerShell itself, you can download this tool, Web Platform Installer. So you can look it up on Google, on Bing. So after you've downloaded it to your system, install it. After the installation, run the tool. So let's, I'm waiting for it to launch. Okay, this is taking some time to launch here. But bottom line, what we expect to see is after this tool has been installed on our system, you expect it to show you a search box where you can type in what you want. So what you are looking to download on your system, that's after the sign-in assistant has been installed on your system, you want to type in Windows Azure PowerShell module. So once you type in that, you will get a list of different options. So what you are supposed to do is to select add and install. So you're using this tool to go and fetch whatever tool is it that you want to install from the internet and have it installed on your machine. So those are the options, of getting it installed. Either you're installing it from PowerShell itself, or you're installing it via web platform installer, or you can do an offline install. But offline install sometimes can be problematic, where you will download the different tools that you need separately and then do an installation of them separately. Okay, the platform installer is ready for us now. So if I type, for instance, Azure AD module and search, can you see that it's able to come up with Microsoft Azure PowerShell? Okay, so if I already have the Azure module installed on my own box, but if this is what I want to install now, so I can just add it, but it's not enough to add. Once you've added it, you need to complete the process by installing. So you can see the install button at the bottom here. So this is how you can install via this tool. Or if you're using PowerShell, just launch your PowerShell window and then type in that command that I typed in for you in the chat box. So those are the options of getting it installed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So can we see the slides on the screen, the module 3 slide?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, so today we're going to be looking at administering Office 365. That's what we're going to be looking at today. So the objectives to cover is managing administrator roles in O365. We'll look at how to configure password management, and we will try to wrap things up with administration of rights management, if time permits. If we don't have enough time, then maybe we would continue with this one here, this administer right management, in our next lesson. So let's begin with module 1. So you see, we know about O365 now. You know, when you set up your O365 account, the user that you use in provisioning that account, in setting up that account, becomes the overall administrator for your tenant, right? So that account now can do everything on O365. But chances are that you might want to delegate responsibilities to other people. You don't want to be the only one performing all the functions, all the job roles up in O365. If you have SharePoint tasks to perform, there is a possibility that you might not have the necessary skills to administer SharePoint, right? So, but you being the overall administrator, you want to grant somebody else with the proper skill the ability to be able to do SharePoint without over-privileging the person, without assigning too much privilege to that particular person. So there is a role that you can just single out and add to this user. So, another task that you might want to perform is, let's say, you need someone to be responsible for changing users' password. So anytime an O365 user complains of forgetting his or her password, you want it to be the duty of somebody else to change the password for them. So there's a role that you can assign to that person, right? If you need somebody to be responsible for creating user accounts in O365 and also assigning licenses to users in O365, there are roles that you can create. So these are the available roles. These are some of the available roles, if you can see them on the screen here. But one thing that is important to note for the exam is that the role name sometimes differs. When you are referencing the role name from the portal, the O365 portal, it might quite be different from when you are referencing them from PowerShell, when you try to list them out from PowerShell. So it's important to note that distinction. A very good example here will be the global administrator. The global administrator is the user that has the most permissive set of privileges up in O365. is the one that can do everything. That first user that you provision O365 with is your first global administrator. So it's called global administrator on the portal, but when you work from the context of PowerShell, it's called billing administrator. So you see, so why Microsoft has made it that, well, I don't know, but this is the reality. This is the reality on ground. This is what we have as of now. When you work in the portal, the overall administrator is called global. When you work from PowerShell, the overall administrator is called billing administrator. Good. So let me try to log in real quick to see how we can assign some of these roles to our users, shall we? Okay, you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to, again, let me come to portal.office.com. That's the URL. Let me use this one.
Okay.
Okay, you can still see the screen.
Alpha.
Yeah, we can still see your screen.
Okay, good. So here is what we have to do. Come to admin, right? I will then click on show all. So you see we have users and groups, right? Users, and we have groups. So what we're trying to do is to add users. We want to assign them to,
Doesn't.
so we have them on the, okay, so this is one thing that you need to also expect, right? When you're doing cloud computing, the fact that things change very quickly up in the cloud. So sometimes ago it was under, what's it called now? It was under users, but now it's been moved away from user. I can't see it under users now. So it's one of the things that you have to prepare your mind for. The cloud is always work in progress. I'll just need to look around to find where.
Is it add user you're looking for?
Not add user, no. I want to add those roles that we talked about. But not to worry, I can't find it here anymore. But there are alternative ways of getting it done. So let me click on active users, right? I'll click on active users. And let's say I want to make this user, John Boo. I want to assign that privilege to this user. So here is what I need to do for John Boo. I will need to, there is a place for role here. So you can see roles. So this particular user right now is just an ordinary user with no admin access at all. So if I need to make him a global administrator, let's say, so I'll just edit this role and make him a global administrator. So you understand, right?
No.
So if I need to make him assign other roles to this user, I'll select customize administrator, and I'll look for the role that I want to assign. So for those of us that already have the tenant account, and you also have PowerShell installed, so I'll just give like 2 minutes, right? Okay, we'll make it 3 minutes, right? So I want you to create a user, and I want you to assign the user the ability to be able to change people's password.
Okay.
So I need you to do that in 3 minutes. Create a user if you don't have any user yet, but if you have a user, so edit that user and assign the ability to be able to create, to change people's password, to change users' password. So assign it to that user.
There's a lot of step. Awesome.
Okay, so I believe we should be through with this by now. We are, right?
Not yet. I don't know what is happening with my tenant account.
Okay.
I can't access the admin console.
You can't access.
Can it be my network or?
How do you mean you can't access the admin? You
Yes,
can't
I
find
can't
when
access
you
the admin.
when you log in. You mean you don't see admin?
When okay, it has come up. It just came up now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I think I can.
See, we shall assign global admin, right?
No, don't assign global admin. Assign the ability for the person to be able to change password.
Password.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum, Saeed.
Wa alaikum salam. I am actually trying my utmost to get this, though I'm still a bit confused. I'm just trying anyway.
Okay, is this Saeed?
Yes, sir. This is Said.
Oh, okay. So you said you are trying to. Have you created your tenant?
No, I haven't, sir.
Why? Why? It's something you can do on your phone, so you can set it up even on your phone. All right. So not to worry.
Based on the slide you displayed earlier, I think the ability to change password here is billing administrator.
Billing administrator, perfect. Yes. So I try to make sure that before the next class, at least you have your tenant account ready.
Yes, sir. I'll
Oh,
make sure.
all right.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, the billing administrator has been added to one of my users.
Okay, it's been added. So that's how you add a role to a user. So let me ask real quick, how about if I need to do this in PowerShell? How do I, what's the process? What do you think the process will be?
First of all, connect to the MSOL service.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to first of all connect to MSOL service. So I'm going to, can you see my screen? Can you see my command prompt screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I'll change this to PowerShell, right? So I'll type PowerShell. And now I'm within the PowerShell prompt. So like you rightly said, I will need to connect -msol service. And remember, if you don't have the Azure AD module installed,
We don't have PowerShell yet on the screen.
you don't have
Yeah,
it
we
yet
don't
on.
have PowerShell displayed on.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay. How about this? Can you see a notepad on the screen now? A notepad displayed on the screen?
Nope,
No. Okay.
not yet.
Okay. All right. So I'll just share it. Just a moment. Just a moment, please. Okay. So can you see my PowerShell screen now?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Okay. So connect MSOL service and then I'll press enter. So you see, I'll need to put in my credentials, which is at
Okay.
so you see that I've connected, right?
Positive.
Okay. So I will show you how you can also do it from here. How you can do the same thing from PowerShell. So if we're trying to do it from PowerShell, we need to first of all view the list of roles that we have, right? So to view the list of roles, we are going to type in the command let get ms get msol role. I think get msol role. Yes, get msol role. So you see the so many roles that we have. You might want to display the roles. Maybe let's display the first 10 roles. So I can do this and pipe and say select object first 10. First 10. Right. So you can see the first 10 row. Um, you can still see the screen, right?
Yes.
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 So, yes, so this is how to get the roles. You can see now that there's billing administrator, there's help desk administrator. Help desk can also reset people's passwords, by the way. So the most appropriate one would be, for instance, help desk administrator. There is exchange administrator, so on and so forth, right?
That means on PowerShell, comparing into the browser view.
Yes, comparing
They are
it
in,
to the admin portal. Yes, to the admin
to the
center.
admin portal. They are
Yes.
working in opposite direction. The billing administrator there is for password, while the
Oh,
billing administrator here is for billing related tasks.
okay. So it's one of the first assignment I was going to give to you today. That's to compare, the roles
Yes.
that you have in the portal and see what's different. What's the contrast between what you have in the portal and what you also have in PowerShell. So moving forward, anyway, since you've been able to spot that, so you know how to view the difference now. Just go to PowerShell and check, and you can read. There's description right in front of each of the roles. So moving forward, let me
Yes.
show you how you can also add a role to a user from PowerShell. So I know I have this user. Let me get MSOL user. If I want to see all my O365 users, so I can do get MSOL user. And I can see my users here. I know I have John Bull. So what I will do is, how about we make John Bull user account administrator, or we just assign any of those roles to this John Bull user. So what I'm going to do, let me copy John Bull user account here. Copy, so I don't have to type this very long name for John Bull. So I'm going to say add MSOL role member, add MSOL role member. You can see that, right?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
What is the role name that I want to add? Role name is what I'm looking for, role name. So I'll go and look up those from the list of the roles if you are not used to them. Say I want to add help desk administrator. So this is help desk administrator. Again, I don't want to make typo errors. So it's better for me to just copy and paste instead of trying to type in myself, because I might make some typographical errors here. So because there are spaces between words, I will need to put it in quotes. Role name is this guy right here. So add MSOL role member, you know the role name. Then next is the role member email address. Who do you want to assign this role to? So I will do role member email address, and I want to assign it again to John Bull. So let me copy John Bull again and paste. So hope you are noting down the commandlets.
Yes.
Okay, so I've assigned it to John Bull now. So you might be wondering, how do we know? How can we tell what role a user has, or what role has been assigned to a user? I can by typing get MSOL user role. So I might do get hyphen MSOL user role. See, and I want to get the role for this user principal name. How about we get for John Bull? So you see that John Bull has the help desk administrator role assigned to him. Is that clear? That's clear, right?
Very clear.
Okay, perfect. Next, I want to show you how to remove a role from a user. To remove it from the admin center is a no-brainer. That's very straightforward. So I will edit the user again. I'm in the admin center now. So if I click on the user, I look up roles, so I can, make him an ordinary user, make him a global administrator as I want. So this is how you switch between roles from the admin center. But if we want to do it from PowerShell, it's a little different. So let me show you that real quick. I want to remove that role that I've assigned to John Bull. I want to remove the role from him, right? So it's going to be remove MSOL role member. So remove MSOL role member. What is the name of the role we're removing? Role name is, I think we assigned help desk administrator, right? Help desk administrator. Remember, it's better to just do a copy and paste. So next is, who are we removing the role from? So role member email address is John Bull, and enter. And now the role has been removed from John Bull. To confirm again, I'm going to use get MSOL user role for John Bull. Let's see. You see, now he's not returning anything back to us. So which means that John Bull right now does not have any admin role assigned to him. He's just a regular user. Perfect. So let's continue then with the slide. Share the slide. Okay, so this is clear enough. Assigning roles, you see, get MSOL user role, the role member, remove role. I've showed all of this to you. And I've showed you the contrast between this stuff, how to delegate administration in PowerShell versus delegating it in the portal. So you know that now. So some common errors, right? Granting more access than is necessary. We don't do that, right? When you do that, you end up over-privileging that person. So the person might be able to do way more than the person should be able to do. So what we want to make sure that we're following when it comes to Microsoft technologies, whenever we deploy any solution, is principle of the least privilege. Principle of least privilege, meaning we're granting a user what he or she needs to be able to do our job or his job. Nothing more, nothing less, right? So ensure you keep that in mind. So next, let's talk about configuration of password management. Password management, shall we? Now, manage password and password policies. Let's start with that. When a user is created, whether on premises and also in Azure or up in O365, the user account, will expire after some days. After a period of time, that user account is going to expire. And can anybody tell me what is the sense in a user account's password expiring? Why? Why do you think is appropriate for a user password to expire? Can anyone tell me?
I think one is for security reason. For instance, let's assume a user saves his or password on a particular system, and after a while, so it will be prompted that the user should enter a new password.
Okay.
So for security reason.
Okay. Yes, that's correct. When you create an account and you have a password, this applies to even our online password, whether your Gmail account, if you have a Gmail account, or your Yahoo account. You don't want to continue to use the same password all the time. When you use the same password all the time, there's a chance that people already know that password of yours. So, and when people get hold of your password, they can lock you out of your account, right? So they can log in as you and retrieve very sensitive information, the emails that other people other than you shouldn't be looking at. They will gain access to that email. And if they want to go a step further, they can lock you out, change the password for you, and even you, the real owner of the account, will no longer be able to log into the account. So from that standpoint, it makes sense for people's password to expire after a period of time, right? So when you work on-prem, password expiration is something that is is implemented in most environments. So people usually will have a password expiration period of say 40 days. And the reason why people make it 40 days is because when those hackers, those intruders run their very powerful tools, they can try to crack password in maximum of 45 days. So when you put it above 45 days, it means that if you are considered one of their targets, they can start to crack your password in 45 days. But if you make it lesser than 45 days, then when they run those their tools, once he hits before getting to 45 days, users would have changed their password, so forcing the tool to start running again from the beginning again. So the tool will never run to completion. So it's just best practice for us to make sure that when we create password, we make that password expire after a period of time. So let's see where to do that in the portal, and I will also show you how you can do it from PowerShell. But it's nice to know that there is a default settings, right? The default expiration period for password, that's O365 user password, is 90 days. So when you create an O365 user, if you don't user and you don't do anything, after 90 days, that user is going to be prompted to change his or her password. But we don't want to leave it at 90 days. 90 days is way too long, to keep a password for. And so I'm just going to show you how you can fix this. And the default notification period is 14 days, meaning 14 days before the expiration of your password is going to start prompting you. Your password will expire in 14 days. Your password will expire in 3 days. You get the picture. So password expiration, default notification is set to 14 days. The session might time out any moment from now. So if it does, let's try to reconnect so we can maybe do another 30 minutes before we wrap up. Okay, so let me show you that real quick, where you can find this setting first in the portal, and we'll see how to also do this in PowerShell.